Guys, greetings from Perm in central Russia. There's a couple of curious facts about the city where I'm in today. The first one is that Perm back in Soviet times used to be a closed city, meaning that its existence used to be kept secret from the rest of the Russian population. The second one is that there is a gulag here in Perm, which is actually the only gulag in the world which can still be visited nowadays. And when I heard that, I was like, what? A gulag? I gotta go and visit. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going to visit the gulag here in Perm. Let's go. Guys, I'm here at the bus station of Perm because the site of the labor camp is actually located around 100 miles north of the city of Perm. It's near the semi-abandoned village of Kuchino. And there should be a bus leading to Kuchino, and that's why I'm here. So, let's get inside, let's go inside the bus station of Perm and let's ask for a bus ticket to the Gulag. Подскажите, пожалуйста, как мне можно туда, темная?
8:45 рейс пойдет.
8:45, значит через 50 минут, да?
8:45 Александров, через темный отворот.
Отсюда?
Да.
Хорошо. Можно билет, пожалуйста?
В кассе проходите в другой зал.
Хорошо. Здравствуйте, еще раз. Говорили, что есть рейс 8:45. Темная.
Билет 260 рублей.
Хорошо, можно по карте, пожалуйста? Спасибо, благодарю. So I just checked the place on maps and it's absolutely in the middle of nowhere, which makes sense. You can't have gulags close to large populated centers, otherwise you would give prisoners the impression that they could escape, that they could have a chance to safety. So we'll see, I might have to get off at a random point in the middle of the highway and then walk the rest of the way through. And by the way, this is my bus to the Gulag, check it out. What do you think? A true Gulag adventure. Спасибо. Well, the view could be better, but yeah, never mind.
Two hours later.
Спасибо, до свидания. Alright, so as I predicted, I'm right in the middle of nowhere. Check this out. Хорошо, хорошо. Тогда я жду. Давай, я здесь на остановке. До свидания. Спасибо. Alright, so actually, while I was on the bus, I found out that the site of the Gulag is not completely abandoned, but there are a few people working there and preserving the Gulag as some sort of museum. So I was actually advised to call up a number and ask if they could come and pick me up. And that's what I'm waiting for. They agreed, and since it's actually 5 or 6 kilometers from here to the site of the Gulag, I'm waiting for a car to come and pick me up. The people here are so nice, you see. You just call them up and say, hey, come and get me. And they are coming to get me. Здравствуйте, вы от музея? Да. Хорошо, спасибо. А как вас зовут?
Илья.
Илья? Меня зовут Давиде, очень приятно.
Давид?
Ну да, итальянская версия Давида, да.
Или Давиде?
Давиде, да, правильно.
Репрессии интересуют?
Просто история мне интересна. Когда я был в школе, история и география были мои любимые предметы. Я читал, что это как единственный музей или как ГУЛАГ в России, который можно еще посетить. Спасибо вам большое. And so, for the first time ever, I'm entering a gulag. This one in particular was built in 1946 and remained operational until 1988. And now you see this. This is the path leading to the Рабочая zona. So this is where the prisoners of the Perm Gulag were working, in this area right here. Wow. Well, check this out. This was one of the watchtowers, and I'm actually going to see if we can climb on it. Probably the museum, the Gulag Museum administration might not like it, but I actually want to give it a go. Let's see. Wow, I'm actually climbing the same Gulag tower that the guards of the Gulag system used to climb on. Wow, it's actually kind of scary because the stairs are just so far apart, and here you can enjoy the view of said Gulag, of the Perm Gulag, and from here the guards were able to get a really nice view of everybody who was living and working in the entire camp. Well, I definitely don't recommend climbing a 60-year-old Gulag tower when you're scared of heights, but at least I can say that I'm inside a Gulag tower, and I'm sure there are not many people who can say that, especially from where I'm from. So I am now at the very edge of the working area, and what I have in front of me is a checkpoint building. Checkpoints served as a place for search and examination of prisoners moving from the residential area to the working area, or vice versa, of course. So what would happen is that a convict or a prisoner, upon finishing their work shift in this area, they would go through this, which is kind of similar to the ones you have in airports, and he was searched by the guards. Maybe he was trying to steal something from work, maybe he was trying to plan his escape with tools from the job, and then he would come out through this door and enter the residential area via this path right here. And this is your typical residential barrack for the people of the Gulag to live in. This structure was designed for around 250 people to live in, although we know that overcrowding was a huge issue in every Gulag, and that is also why it's difficult to estimate properly the amount of people who have lived in a Gulag throughout the entire existence of the Soviet labor camp program. You know what, let's actually go inside and let's see firsthand these allegedly horrible living conditions of the Gulag. Wow, check this out, bunk beds all over the place. You see one here, wooden, everything wooden, so really uncomfortable. Another one here, and the upper beds right here. It's almost like a third-class Russian train. And we see a mannequin right here, and even though you have some heat coming from there, it was still very cold in the middle of the winter, and that's why you had prisoners sleeping with their winter hats on, a really light blanket, and with their jackets still on, with their shoes still on, and the work clothes were to be left hanging on top of the heater, just so that hopefully the next day, the following day, they were dry again after being wet due to the snow and the weather. Guys, check this out, the bathroom. How many people did I tell you used to live in a single structure like this one? More than 200, right? And how many bathrooms did you have? One, just this single one. You had this sort of sink area right on the right, and there you had the toilet, and I imagine, although I'm not quite sure, that people used to shower and just wash themselves in some way behind those things right there. And now this room is very important because this is the Krasny ugalok, which means the red corner. And this was the entertainment room for the prisoners of the Gulag. And they were to be entertained through propaganda items, which means propaganda books. And this is why here you have Mr. Lenin right here looking at prisoners as they were allowed, not even just allowed, but probably encouraged to read books such as Большая Советская Encyclopedia, the Great Soviet Encyclopedia. And you also had, look at this, wow, Historia KPSS, the history of the Soviet Communist Party. And let's take a look at the authors that the prisoners of the Gulag were allowed to read. We have Tolstoy, we have, we have Pushkin, one of the greatest Russian poets. And then what else? We also have the memories, check out this one, the memories of Marx and Engels. And you also have these tables right here because prisoners were technically allowed to write 2 letters per month to their families and friends back at home. Although sometimes it wasn't rare that the letter allowance would decrease up to 1 letter per year or 2 letters per year. And that's what led to many strikes all over some of the Gulag camps in Russia. Wow, just imagine being here 60 years ago with the birds singing on a clear summer day with this nature and just the juxtaposition of having to reminisce and think about your whole existence as a Gulag prisoner. Alright, so I just exited the main area of the Gulag because there is a third zone that I want to check out, which is the one dedicated to housing political dissidents. In 1972, the Perm Gulag became the main destination to send everyone who was daring to go against the Soviet regime. There you go, I made it to the third zone of the Gulag. Now I have to figure out how to make my way inside because it appears to be locked. Особого режима. This wasn't just for political dissidents, but also it was the maximum security part for really dangerous criminals. Just imagine. Am I supposed to do this? Wow, a maximum security gulag. I'm actually kinda excited to see what a maximum security gulag looks like. Здравствуйте.
Здравствуйте.
Можно? Да, спасибо. A maximum security gulag. Again, having to go through this. This looks to be some sort of medical room. You can't trust dangerous criminals and political dissidents. And this is why you have this. Can you actually go inside? Apparently, no. It's not allowed at the moment. This is actually cool. This is a song from the Gulag of the Kalima. And the Kalima highway is the one which was built by the Gulag prisoners up in Magadan, up in northeastern Russia. And apparently these are some lyrics from a song that was sung by the prisoners of the Kalima Gulag. Interesting. Wow, check this out! A cell! A maximum security cell with a bunk bed for 2 people. You even have the bathroom inside the room. It's an ensuite room. How cool is that? Wow, astonishing. You have one small chair for 2 people. You have a couple of shelves over there. And wow. And I just realized, guys, that these were the people inhabiting this cell right here. We had Borodin, a Russian writer, who was sentenced to 10 years in the Gulag due to anti-Soviet activity. And likewise, Mr. Vasily Semyonovich, who was a Ukrainian poet, he was likewise, again in 1980, sentenced to 10 years in the Gulag of Perm due to, to anti-Soviet propaganda. And he was sentenced to 10 years right here but unfortunately he died in 1985 after 5 years in the Gulag of Perm. You see, there you go, giving faces to the prisoners of the Gulag. So apparently prisoners were allowed to do some exercise right here, but I just can't figure out how. Probably just jumping around. There are no tools of any sort, just some barbed wire up there. So I don't know, I'm quite confused. But the Pragulachny dvarik, the exercise yard here in the maximum security area of the Gulag. And this is the building with the punishment isolation cells. So just imagine, maybe you were acting a bit as a rebel in the Gulag camp, you were doing something that your supervisors didn't like, and you would end up here in the isolation cells. Let's see what they look like. 4 beds with a sink, and I reckon this must be the toilet. Yes, it is. I mean, it almost looks better than the normal ones, although you have the toilet inside the room and the smell that comes with it. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed our visit to the Gulag here in Perm. It was our first visit to the Gulag and probably the only one, because there are no other Gulags in Russia which are as well kept as this one. So I'm now going to continue my travel across Russia, and I guess I'll see you another time from another place. Cheers! Thank you! Bye!